Good morning. This is Jim in the Country Boy Machining garage, shop, shed, whichever you want to call it. This is going to be probably my video is going to slow down. I don't have the time that I had. I'm going to go back to my day job. I've been out with rotator cuff surgery, so I've had a lot of free time. The last few weeks since I started the channel, I've been able to make some videos and do some stuff because I had free time. So I'm going to try probably to do something a week, work on projects. I still got projects. But today's video is not going to be a lot of machining. It's going to be a lot of tool talk about shop tools, especially in the home shop and the hobbyist shop. One of the people that I follow, Greg Halligan, or Halligan 142, he was discussing last week about going to insert tooling, buying some, and there's some other things. I use a lot of it. You've seen it. You've seen some of them modified tool holders. I've covered it. But today I'm going to kind of go over a little more detail about why I use carbide, what it is, and what, this is bottom line. And a little background. I've been a machinist and has worked in machine shops since I was 18 years old. I went to work full time in 1974 in July in a small shop here in Kings Mountain. It done mainly what we call textile work. You've heard me mention this before. Basically making parts for textile plants. And I worked for there till 1977, and I've been fortunate to be at Eaton Corporation, one of the large corporations in the United States. Facility I work at, we make the truck transmissions for the over-the-road trucks, and I've done a lot of various jobs and tasks in Eaton. That's been my livelihood. It's been real good to me, but mostly in those facilities you use carbide, and as insert tooling, the last 37 years I've used inserts. My primary job now is what we call hard turning. We take great big CNC lathes and machine shafts instead of grinding them. It's a very fast process. So I know a lot about carbide because I've worked with it. I've been exposed to it. Had opportunities to meet with representatives. When you work for a large company, the representatives come in. So I'm a lot familiar with it more than the job shop guys. Quite frankly, the insert reps are going where the business is. The business is in the few large companies around. So I've got some stuff laid out here on the table, and we're going to go over the tooling that I have here in my home shop. I turned the gas heater off. It's a little cool this morning because I didn't want any extra background noise. I wanted you to be able to hear this because it's going to be a lot of video, showing, and talking. So what I'm going to do is cut the camera off, reposition here on the bench, my little blue bath mats that we had cleaned up, and old bath mats from my background, and I'm going to walk you through some tooling. And once we go through the tooling, I'm going to use my SRD drill sharpener, and I'm going to sharpen up some drill bits too today. So with no further ado, I'll reposition you. All right, we're going back again, and I've talked about the holder, but this is the one. These inserts come from these particular, not inserts, excuse me, blades. I ordered these from Little Machine Shop, and that's a good resource for small machining operations. So basically, and then one of the things for these smaller lathes, these blades are real thin. You can't use a lot of stick out. They work decent small stuff, but you still have problems. So the next upgrade would be to go with this is another one. This is another one of the modified holders I had. This is a upgrade. This is another import. In fact, I think it's a Shar's cut-off blade. Same thing. They work good. It uses the inserts, but you're limited to your depth, to your size of your parts, your diameters, and I quite frankly find that's a problem. I mean, if you're doing a half-inch parts or so, this is your swing. And if you have a left or right hand tool, which would be where this point would be, still immaterial. You don't have full blade. But it's hard to find a blade system like I made up and I showed pictures of, or I made video of actually, that works the way it needs to. So this works, and this actually works good, and it's held in by friction. It's a good tool. And this is the inserts, and I'm going to bring them up here to you, that goes with it. That's what same type. And just basically a little, and drop one out here and lay it out here where you can see it if you get it up here close to the camera. And it basically just wedges in there and holds it. And this works really well. But you see the problem right here. So me being wanting things that I haven't got, I seen these blades on eBay. The problem, they're made for the larger lathes, the guys like Keith Fenners and Adam Booth, and these guys that's got the larger lathes. Problem is, they don't make it. So I machined this block out, and you've seen this video before of how I done it. But the reason I done all this and went through this trouble is to have something that I could get a little longer blade so I can cut a 2-inch diameter or whatever off if I need to in the lathe. And again, with the materials, even steel, this works good. I haven't tried a 2-inch piece of steel yet with it, but I've had really good results. I always put the lathe down in the lowest gear I got, the lowest belt speed, and it works real well. Uses the same GTN inserts, real convenient little thing. I really like it. So now there's the cutoff tools that I have. Now I'm going to bring the inserts around. This is now I'm a fan. I didn't set it out here. I have some of these little Harbor Freight jobs, and I use them occasionally. In fact, this particular one, I've used it to turn plastic when I made go-kart hubs. I've got some of the inserts, I just didn't get them out. These are 1/4 inch. These are actually made for the mini lathes, and they work really decent. But you have a very limited selection of carbide. And usually this is an uncoated. This is closer to high-speed steel. And for somebody with small lathes that wants to get into this inexpensively, you can pick up a pack of a bunch of this, like 20, 25 bucks at Harbor Freight, the little holders. And if you don't too crazy with it, it actually works pretty decent. It's all I used for a while. But this is it's a CNMG type. And this is my favorite type of tool holder to turn with. You have 4 edges on the inserts and to work with, and they come in all kind of different brands. eBay is always a good resource. I've got several different brands here, and I'll be setting them out here and hitting on them. And the reason why I like some things better than others. But this particular insert, if you'll notice, it's what they call it's a C type, and you can put it in your holder like this, turn your OD and face with it without moving your tool positions. On CNC turning machines, when you machine parts in production environments, these are the go-to tools. This or Trigon, as you'll have Adam talk about, but I have some Trigons, but I don't have them modified. In fact, I'll set one out right here right quick to show you the difference in the Trigon. You hear Adam talk about Trigons. This is a Trigon. It does the same thing. This one, I'm going to actually machine me a special hole up one. This one, the advantage of this insert to this is you just get an extra edge. When you buy carbide, you're not paying by the edge. You're paying for the whole insert. So, theoretically, the insert price, you get more value because you get 6 edges. Because the edges are symmetrical on these tools. Now, the reason, whoops, I knocked something over. The reason I modified a lot of tools goes back to something I just said. This is import, and you can get them on eBay, Shars, any of these companies, and they work well. AR Warner, I've never dealt with AR Warner, but I've heard people talk about it. They make some that uses high-speed steel, and you can regrind them. The only drawback to this small insert, and the reason why I went through the trouble of doing some things you see me doing, is you'll notice there's only 2 cutting edges. See, there's the top of the insert. Here's the bottom of the insert. Now, these inserts are about $4 a piece. You can get them a little cheaper, guess or what, around eBay if you buy them. These particular ones, these are some Seicos like Greg had. These are some Kennametals, which is my personal favorite. This is KC850, which is a really good all-around turning grade for steel and anything you're going to do in the home shop. And then I've got some, I forget what, I think these are Kyosaras that a friend of mine gave me, or Ceratips, 1 to 2. And But again, you only have 2 cutting edges. Here's a different, this is a different geometry laying in my box. I don't even know what kind it is. That's a Kennametal of some sort there, because I see by the, you can't see the numbers, I can. It's a KC number. I think it's a Kennametal. It's old chip breaker style. Yeah, it's a KC850. It's actually a Kennametal itself laying in that box. So, and see this one, yeah, that's actually because if you look at the chip breaker, so that probably is one of the extras I had in this. And why? Well, fine and good. Most hobbyists are going to try to buy their inserts off eBay. What I ran into and what I noticed, besides the one, excuse me, hitting the camera, that I noticed is when you do this, these are $3, $4 a piece. You can buy the larger inserts. And I don't want to show everything here. These are CNMG. I think they're those are 431s. The numbers on the end on the American destination 1s or 2s is there's a chart. It's basically the circle of the diameter, the thickness, and what is the edge radius. The easiest thing to remember on any of these numbers is the smaller this here number. With these inserts, they like use point numbers like 03 or 09 or something. And what they're telling you is that's the actual nose end radius. Now, the sharper the radius, that is when you finish your point, you end up with the sharp radius. Also, it'll tend to pull the part, insert down into the part a little better. On these small lathes, where you have a rigidity problem, 31s and 32s are good because of that. And this is, I think these are 30. This is a 32. This is a Kennametal 32, and this is a Ceratip 31. I don't know if you can see in the camera, I'll get it up here close, but if you'll notice this radius, this rounded edge right here, that is where the radius of the insert. I love 31s and 32s a lot. They make them 33s, 3s, and 4s. But if you're going on eBay buying any tools, try to get the sharpest radius you can, because they're good for cut, finishing, and rub. The bigger radius will make a better finish. However, you're not taking deep cuts, so you want to dive an insert down into part and basically gain that rigidity from the tooling pulling into the part. That's one of the Kennametals. This was my first attempt at making something fit. Actually, this was a used holder off of eBay, and I bought it at a real cheap price. Somebody had been welding, if you'll notice here in the bottom, and cutting on this holder. And before I got my mill, I took this to work, and the guy in our tool room milled it down to a ½ inch. We put it in the block. This tool performs flawlessly on my lathe. There's only one problem with it. Because of its size, you give up swing, turning area. And when it's not a problem when you're working down at the bottom of your range. But when you're up at the top of your range, like when I was making the handles for the mill, you give up. So you either go back to this to get more range, or you do something else. So I have one of my brainstorms in your last video, fixing my mess. This is why I did this. Basically took tool holder and cut a dovetail in it to fit. Now I made a mistake, and you see me work on this in the last video, but basically this is the same holder, milled down, cut down, and milled out in a notch to give you the ability to put this up in the machine. It fits right in, and what this does is gives me the ability to have that overswing right there. I can do the same thing with this here tools I can that one. The reason I went through the trouble is simple economics. Most hobbyists, if you happen to buy these inserts, eBay is a wonderful, wonderful resource for you. And why not go ahead and use it? And you can pick these inserts up, and sometimes you can even get an off-brand that's coated, which still would be just as good. Sometimes you can stumble across a deal on the name brands. And that's the next thing I'm going to tell you. Here's where you can't go wrong. Kennametal. Very good products. As far as an insert that's turning mild steel and anything, I've used a lot of Kennametal products over my career. That is my favorite insert. Now, Kennametal makes good products. You can't go wrong. Iscar, I don't have any of them. I've used Iscar at work and seen them. Iscar is a good product. Another good brand, Mitsubishi. I have some of them. Any of the Japanese brands, Mitsubishi or Sumitomo, is really, really good carbide. It works really good. You have not a lot of trouble with it. And then the Swedish company Sandvik. I know you've heard Sandvik being mentioned. I think a lot of the guys mentioned it. This is a good product. So those are the top of the line. The Secos, I've got them. I use them here at home, and I got a good buy. I'm not as impressed with the Secos as I am with what I normally use. So that's my take on the carbide, and I just basically, like I say, that's my take on it. I know enough to be dangerous about carbide, folks, and that's my point on the tools. We're gonna cut you off. I'm gonna set up over here in the drill. I'm gonna cut. Oh, well, before I cut you off, I'm going to show you something, and I'm going to set these tools, and then we'll cut you off and reposition and show you. What you see me lay down there is a fixture for my SRD drill grinder. That's what we're going to do. We're going to sharpen the twist drill right quick. My first experience with the SRD type drill grinder was when I first started working in the shop. We had one in the little machine shop in Kings Mountain that I worked at, and we used it for our small drills, up to half-inch stuff you'd use in drill presses and mills. Our larger drills, we either hand sharpen or we send them out. We actually sent a lot of our drills out when I worked. Eaton used to sharpen their own drills, and now they throw drills away, basically. They don't even sharpen them. Basically, this little block will fit into the grinder, and I've got the drill lined up. Now, one of the things about this, you've got to be careful. When you line this up, you want to line this up, because you'll see in a minute. You want to start here and grind up to take your finish off. Now, I'm going to set the SRD up here in just a second for us, and we're going to see. And then we'll go from there. Okay? Okay. Now, this is my SRD grinder. You'll notice this is the block that holds the tooling, the drill. It fits right here, and maybe I need to turn the camera around, and if I'm wiggling a little bit, just excuse me. We might just work off of this end. Should have thought about that. Let's see if you can see better. I would love to get you right down there to it, and I don't know if my little mount will let me, so we might have to see if we can get you a little better shot. Let's do a little experimenting here. Hang loose a few minutes and let me set up before we sharpen. Okay, now I'm going to get you a view of sharpening your drill on the unit. Now, it's going to be a little noisy. I can't talk while I'm doing this, so, and I'll kind of bring you up and give you another view after this. Okay, now I'm going to finish sharpening that drill. I just wanted to give you a close-up view. That way you can see the whole process. And I'm not finished with the drill. I just made sure it's set up. You just turn the handle and then you just kind of work the drill back and forth and it sparks out. I'm not going to sharpen another drill bit, but I'm going to load one up for you and show you how you load it. And see, it just slides in there like that. There's a couple of lines on this thing, and I don't know if you can actually see them up closely, that you have to line. And see, this is how the adjustment, I just picked up, or I don't know what size this drill bit is. I just picked up a random drill bit that I have here in the shop, and just set it up, and this has been sharpened on it. So now one of the things, if you'll look, let me see if I can get you up here close where you can really see. You see the little, hopefully you can see the lines on the there, and you got the line, the flutes up with the lines, just like that. And one of the things you really need to be careful with this is something that is make sure that you line this up so when you sharpen and you make your first cuts, that you're cutting here so that you're putting your relief in. Because if you'll notice how the sharpener is set up, it's set up at an angle so it puts this relief in it. I don't know if you can see this. GoPros sometimes are not good for this stuff, but that's, get you up here close, and that's the drill bit I just sharpened. And it puts a nice little relief angle on it. And it doesn't do split points and all, but that's a nice sharpened drill bit. That will work just fine. Now that's my SRD, and these are pricey units if you buy them new. I think they're about $1,000 now, direct from SRD. My unit come off eBay. I give $150 for a base unit without this vise. These vices are about $200 a piece from SRD. And I've actually got extra grinding wheels, so I'm gonna go over here and we'll slide this thing over real quick, and we'll set up, and I'll sharpen this drill bit. Okay, now I'm putting the drill in, and I just set it in. You'll notice it's way out of whack here. There's a little pin right here it sets up against you to set the block. There's an adjustment handle on the back that moves the whole motor. It's on dovetails. This adjustment here, you can just adjust your depth. Once you kind of set it, you can actually set it a little long, and that's probably what I've done. I made this. Some of the pieces was missing. I made that little brass knurl knob and whatever. I'm just cranking it back. You know, if you're doing a lot of drills, what I do if I'm doing a lot of drills is I'll just bring the drill over here and touch it to where I'm at. Saves time. But today, for demonstration, I just throw this in on the bench. Whoa. Thought I had it backed off enough. Back it off some more. See, that's the part that's funny about this. Now, one of the things you'll notice I put some black on there. That's to let me know that I've got this set right. You see where I've messed up, so I'll have to grind that out now. But you'll see how I've done it. So now just so you always want to make sure that you're starting on the bottom of the drill opposite the land with this sharpener. And the instructions tell you how to put it in, but like most instructions, it's hard to visualize it till you do it. So, and just, again, just make your adjustments, hold your block, just hold your block in, and hit it a couple times. And then just turn it over and you go down the other side. And sometimes you got to be careful. If you get in a hurry, and I'm in just a bit of one, I'm probably taking a little too much off with the pass. You know, you need to be, I'm probably being a little too aggressive with it right now. Okay, there we are, nice and sharp. And that's all there is to it. And I'm going to tell you that it works really well. I'm really pleased with it. I might could see I've got a little mark here in the side, but you notice it's cleaned up. I don't know if you can see how it grinds. It actually grinds just like a hand grind, here down. Like Greg was talking about the Craftsman deal. Basically what I do with this, you know, I have an unheated shop, so I try to cover, another reason I cover stuff up is dust and dirt. So what I'm going to do is I cover it up and we'll be right. Okay, I'm hoping you enjoyed today's video. Like I say, I'm going to start trying to do little ones probably once a week, sometime during the week once I go back to work. I've got a couple little minor things I may get on my big project. It just depends. There's just a lot going on in my life and our lives. Everybody's busy. And we want to, you know, you got to balance things. You can't stay in the shop all the time. You can't watch these YouTube videos all the time. You know, you guys, you all have families and lives, and you don't ignore them for your hobbies. And you also have day jobs, so we have to do things. And it's just, you know, it's just a recipe for failure in your general life. And I don't want you to think that only these, I know myself and probably listening to the other guys that I watch, they have full lives. And this is just an extra piece of my hobby that I picked up. And really what I'm wanting to do is the small limited amount of knowledge that I have is to show people, yes, you can do things if you really want to. Like I say, I'm not the expert, and I don't done enough of the precision odd machining yet. I can say that I can rank up there with the experts, but I do have some knowledge, and I wanted to kind of share it today and some of the things that I have going on here and the grinder. and stuff. So that's what today's about. To all the folks that subscribe to my channel and been viewing it, you know, for the past month or 3-4 weeks since I started, I'm extremely proud and grateful that you are. And you know, one thing about it is folks are different. We all look at things very differently. And I went ahead and trying to make this stuff better for you. And so I hope you all enjoy the video today, and hopefully you learned a little something. If it's something you learned, hopefully it's somewhat entertaining. See an old bald-headed man standing out in the shop with his feet cold to show you about inserts and stuff. If you find that entertaining, well, I guess you're watching my channel. Again, you know, if you're just stumbled across it, you know, please rate, comment, and subscribe. You know, obviously that's why we do this, to share. When the more people that watch these things learn, and it's just a blessing for all of us. So I want all of you to have a great day and a great week next week. And if I don't have anything out in a week or so, then don't be alarmed. I'm still here. I'm alive. Them first few days at work is going to be rough. So just hang in there, and we will be back with you shortly. Have a great day.